Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species, in this case by launching a giant carbonite drill. And you'll notice one thing that we have different on my booster stage here, which is a normal kind of cluster of mainsails, kind of asparagus sort of, are parachutes, because I have installed stage recovery, so hopefully we are going to be able to save ourselves some money. Now 3, 2, 1, launch. Alright, so this is a fairly standard sort of cluster of 2.5 meter boosters with mainsails on the end there. I kind of asparagus them to get a little bit more oomph, a little bit more efficiency out of this whole stack. But the idea is hopefully that these big old parachutes are going to be able to take these to the ground safely with the stage recovery mod, which will return me some funds based on what it captures. Like, it has some calculations that it does about the terminal velocity of all the parts that come falling down into the atmosphere. So instead of just being destroyed, hopefully we'll get some money back, which would be very, very nice. And coming up on first stage separation, get those kicked off. I dramatically reduced the amount of fuel in those, please don't smash into each other, the fuel in the solid booster separatrons, in the hopes that we are going to be able to retain, like, so they won't go flipping out and flipping around and really smashing into things. It would be really nice. But we'll see how that ends up going. Looks like they are falling away nicely and cleanly. I'm very happy about that. We are coming up into the upper atmosphere. Coming up on second stage separation. Away with you! They kick off, we keep going. Meanwhile, looks like the first stages have been recovered. 97.8% distance, 100% speed. And we got 30,000 funds. And then another 30,000 funds. So 60,000 funds back for that. And I'm really hoping that I'm going to be able to get these two, but we're starting to get going pretty fast here, so I'm not convinced that we're going to get... Oh dear, I am actually really off nominal trajectory here. Let's point ourselves upwards. I was so excitedly anticipating the stage recovery return of funds that I almost lost the entire vessel. Alright, so we've cut off our main engine, and we are actually practically in orbit. We have a 50 kilometer apoapsis and a 14 kilometer periapsis, but we're still down at 40 kilometers in altitude, so we're just like kind of smashing through the atmosphere. This has been a very funky trajectory. What I'd like to do at this point actually is cut off this stage, and maybe, just maybe, the little bit of fuel it has left stage recovery will maybe simulate a boost back burn for me. That would be very convenient. So let's send that on its merry way. Kick on the engine, and let's get our apoapsis up out of the atmosphere. There, 76 kilometers is all you really need. Mostly, I'm aiming for 70 kilometers, and I imagine drag is going to cut it down to close to that, because we are going 2,300 meters per second inside the atmosphere. Alright, so we are finally up and out of the atmosphere. That took a really long time, so let's separate this fairing. Oh, confetti, boo! I forgot I had that on confetti. Oh well, not as exciting as I would have hoped. Let's see, do I have... Here we go. Extend antenna. Turn on the reactor. Quaid, start the reactor. So we are now just about ready to get ourselves fully into orbit. Let's add a maneuver, circularize, not just in a random place, but at apoapsis. One burn. Alright, so I designed this so that this skipper stage would have enough fuel to get us out to Minmus and then be dropped onto Minmus's surface on the way over. And then the final upper stage will take over and land us safely on the surface. So what I can do now is set up my transfer burn, which is going to be coming at almost literally the worst possible time, which is cool. Alright, so I've been cutting these out of my videos lately because I just do so dang many of them, but I feel like this one turned out pretty nice and clean, so I figure I would show it. So the way that I generally get out to Minmus is, so first of all, we of course set up the big maneuver node that gets us out about 40-ish degrees ahead of where Minmus is, and then from there I tweak it to exactly where Minmus is going to be, so that just when I reach the top of my orbit, not going too far out and not coming too far back because that increases the time, but just as it touches the orbit is where I try to place my first maneuver node. And as you can see, it's like 30, 40-ish degrees. I'm sure there's an exact number that I could get, but I just can't be bothered doing that. I play this game by eyeball. And then from there, I spend some time kind of tweaking my initial orbit to try to get as close as I can. And then I make a second node, you saw, to change my inclination to match where Minmus is going to be. And that's going to get you your initial encounter. So from there, now it's just a matter of just kind of tweaking the variables on your maneuver. So just a little bit of periapsis, or a little bit of prograde velocity here, a little bit reduced there, and then you have just trying to get that line a little bit closer. And then you end up with what looked to me like a pretty clean transfer burn. So we have about 925 meters per second that we need to spend to get ourselves out into the correct position orbitally, and then we have a very small inclination change that we will be doing after that. So that's all there is to it. Alright, so let's get burning out there. Unfortunately, this is in the dark side, so we'll wait a moment to talk about the vessel. Alright, so we are just about to finish off this burn. We are correcting our trajectory on our way out to Minmus. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. So that should smash into Minmus, and I only have 100 meters per second of delta V left, so I can actually just, well, we'll save the game, but then ka-chunk, and send off this extra stage to smash into Minmus. Delightful. So, this thing is 8 carbonite drills, and then some landing legs, and that's basically it. We have some fuel hidden, tucked away on the inside here. We have some reaction wheels to let this thing maneuver. Pioneer logistics module. I think this is the one that you need to hook into planetary logistics. I know that this is the bigger of the two that has more capable, so if this is the one that definitely can. I don't remember if the smaller one can as well, as far as just pushing out to planetary logistics, but I figure better safe than sorry, and this design It would have been a little bit more compact, a little bit easier to maneuver, but it's not going to make that big of a difference. I have one small carbonite container, which has the warehouse capability. I wanted as small of a container as I could get because I want to push out carbonite to planetary logistics as often as I possibly can. That way there's a faster transfer of materials rather than waiting for the 8 drills on this to fill up a like 8,000 unit container. Then we have some more reaction control wheels, nuclear reactor to power the drills night and day, and then the nice big Hex 2 probe, which is going to be something you see a lot of on almost everything that I'm going to be flying, just because it has full SAS capabilities. And then nice big thermal control systems to make sure that we can run the nuclear reactor along with all of these drills at the same time without cooking this vessel. So that's it. Okay, so the carbonite driller is just now coming in. We can see Kerbin way off in the background, and we see Minmus looming close. So we shall approach. Let me just kill this. Don't need Kerbal alarm clock telling me what I already know. And we just kind of slide right on up, and boom, here we are. Beautiful. So now let's get ourselves into some semblance of an orbit. And what I think we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to use the, where is it? Orbital Surveyor or the Narrowband Scanner, one of them, to find ourselves a more suitable location for landing, because what we have right now is, well, what we have right now is nothing. I have no idea where the carbonite is. This is something that I found out once upon a time and I didn't, you know, keep track. So let me just switch and find a spot. Okay, so we have found ourselves a landing location, and it is here. Zone 5ZPZ8. Sure, fine. So we are going to, I think it will probably be easiest to just roll with the rotation of Minmus and circularize first. So let's do that. This thing swings around and then, no dear. Gimbals on this wiggle in a weird way. I'm going to turn those off right now, actually, because this thing has enough torque to do what it needs to do. I don't need the gimbal on those swivel engines being, you know, being strange. Uh-oh, what's going on? Oh, the Starlifter shuttle is moving on. All right, let's jump to that first. Sorry for the whiplash on the plot change here, but the Starlifter shuttle was just about to dip out into interplanetary space, so we should probably do something about that. So in just 1 minute, they will exit the barrier out to interplanetary space. But first, let's get a gravity scan. And let's actually transfer our scientists over to the research module. Our scientists being Bob, and Jai. Beautiful. Ooh, and we are now in interplanetary space. Where did that scan go? Oops, it's on the other side. Can I rotate this? Will that not be too terrible? Let's flip this thing around, because I have my science experiments kind of all posted on one side. So let's actually, as I turn this, let's point this in a direction that is going to be camera friendly, because we have many things to do. Let's grab a crew report. Space high over the sun. Beautiful, because we want to copy, and then we also want to process in the lab. And there we go. We can just do that twice and boom, boom. Grab some more science. Now we're going to get this mystery goo in particular. Let's point towards the sun so we can actually see what's happening here. Oh, actually, hold on. We're going to keep that one. Observe the materials bay. Keep. Observe. Observe. Do science to it. Oops. That's... Oh no, that's fine. Everything is fine. So, this thing now has 140 data? I know I did more than... Huh. I thought for sure I did more than that. Start research. 2 science per day! My goodness gracious. Where's the rest of my science? You're bugging me now. Review... Process. Okay, I feel like it might have, when I was clicking on, when I did, oh no, this one's in. Never mind, hypothesis has been dashed. I have no idea what's going on. Well, let's jump out real quick. Bob. Whoa. You got a different side than I expected. Restore. Restore. I can actually do this from the science module, but I was there. Alright, so we're going to collect some data. Collect some data. Restore and restore. Occurs to me that oh dear, I didn't realize I was actually playing a platformer for a second there. It occurs to me that I don't have a good way to get this science home, but we can worry about that later. Up, maybe? Can I store? I wish to store the science. Alright, maybe I can just jump in and out. Get back out. Ah, I love this easy switch mod that allows, that smooths out the camera transitions when you're jumping in and out of EVA. I quite enjoy that. Take data. Here. Take data. Log gravity data. Take data. Grab an EVA report while we're out. Alright, jump back in. And let's see what we can do with all this science. Process it. Keep it. Keep it. Process it. There, we're now up to 226 data. I feel like that should be higher. I don't know what's going on. But I guess that's fine. Oh, I guess my EVA report fell out as well. That's fine. There you go. Well, we have all the science now, one way or the other, so that's good. So, let's see. Just eating up all this electric charge. That's fine, we'll survive. It's a world first milestone. First spacewalk in the orbit of the sun. Beautiful. Okay, so now I gotta figure out how to get back to Kerbin, and I think that the easiest way is to literally just point at it and then burn backwards and then get captured by its sphere of influence. But let's save our game and let's take a look at how this is going to work for us. There, now that we're pointing our solar panels towards the sun more fully, we are getting a tremendous amount of electric charge. Beautiful. So, if I were, I suppose, oh dear, where's my, there it is. Which way am I going? I guess I'm going this way. 41 minutes away. Let's bring that in a little closer, shall we? let's actually try to plan this out instead of just randomly burning my engine in directions, I suppose. It's not normally how I do these things, but that's probably a better way to go about it. So if I were to slow my orbit, where am I right now? I'm actually in a smaller orbit than Kerbin is, which means that I have pushed myself a little bit retrograde with relations to its orbit. So I am going faster in relation to it, but I am closer to the sun, and part of that is because I mostly came out of the Kerbin Sphere of Influence radially. So I'm kind of moving in a fairly direct trajectory out. You can see how my orbital path is bent with relation to Kerbin, so we'll have to adjust that. So yeah, let's not wait 252 days. I don't think that's going to be necessary. So can I... Well, it's not going to be radial this way. I don't suppose there's... Which way? What is target word? Can you tell I don't return this way very often? I usually just point and then fire off my engines, but here we go. Looks like it's radial. It's the opposite direction than I thought it was. That's fine. So that'll take 23 days to get to. 18, 15. Here, if I slow this down, is there a way that I can go that'll make this a little bit... There we go. 19 days. 8 days. There we go. This is looking better. I think I've got the trajectory now. Does that actually help or hurt? It helps. Slow down more. Kerbin encounter. That's what I'm interested in. 2 hours. So slow down more seems to help. And more radial seems to help. Well, that gets us there faster, but we don't necessarily need to be there in a humongous hurry. But we do need to actually encounter and intercept in a way that's going to bring us down to... Because remember, we have to get back to Minmus, is the idea here. So let's take a look at Kerbin and see what we are doing with this weird orbit. Where is it? I am not seeing the patched conics on this at all, actually. That is very strange. Well, I think we're just going to make this burn, and then we're going to see what happens. That's probably not the best idea I've ever had, but let's use this as a guideline and just burn in this direction and then see what the game has to say about things and stuff. So we've got a minute-long burn, and what's happening is I am burning now in a direction that's partway in between slowing down my orbit and burning back towards in the general direction of Kerbin. And hopefully between those two, that's going to align our orbits once again and bring us back in. This is kind of a cool shot. I like this. That's a really neat looking ship. I really enjoy this ship. I know I probably said that a lot. It's upside down relative to our camera view, but not relative to them. They are flying weightless, except for those that are hanging out in the habitation ring, probably on their tiny little treadmills. In, I don't know, what kind of gravity do you suppose you would get in that kind of rotation? I imagine that there's plenty of math that I could do to figure that out, but I'm just going to throw a wild guess out there and say it's like 0.1 or 0.2 G at the absolute out. And but even that is helpful. That helps reduce the loss of bone density. And on that lovely note, we now have our encounter. Now, I still cannot see where this actually intercepts, which I don't love. Well, in an hour, we are going to... Interesting. Okay, so in an hour, we are going to see how this is going. But unfortunately, we are all out of time, so we'll have to deal with that later on. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a like and subscribe below, and I will see you in the next one.